Hey everyone, I'm here at Brickvention 2020 in Melbourne, Australia. We have another record-breaking Southern Hemisphere loop. I'm getting a cameo on Mr. Rohan.
Starting from Rasika's Tower, we have a roller coaster, which is based on a Nico 71 pump. I've had this for several years, it works quite well. Going on to a, I'm going to forget so many names of the modules here, but this one's been around for a while. Seems to work well. We have a Brick World module, workshop module, Brickfair, the wonderful people at Brickfair who do these modules, which is a card and lift. Going on to the next card and lift here. Round the corner we've got my Queen's Tower, which is just a ball pump and running down. Just a decorative one. And then here onto my version of Lawrie's mini golf using his putter module, which is really good. And I've done a Fabuland theme, basic windmill theme, castle theme back here with a drawbridge going up and down, and the ball goes through. Leading on to a classic space. Homage to all the childhood sets that I could never afford, but here they are in GBC format. And then lastly of this 5-hole course is Melbourne. So this is St Kilda Road in Melbourne with the National Gallery, Art Centre, Concert Hall, Yarra River, Flinders Street Station and a couple of trams.
There's so many balls coming.
A little Catarata stepper and a sweeper stepper, which I've had for a couple of years now.
Wait for about 3 or 4.
We've got an Archimedes Screw, and then leading on is my human-powered module. So this year I've built a big one called the Mine.
3,
The kids get to operate it. So there's a big TNT blaster and a big crowd of kids around here. So whoever pushes the plunger will explode the balls. Go!
Do it.
Go!
Now.
The next person has to operate the hand crank.
What does that make that, bro?
Yes, operating the hand crank. You can have a turn now. Bit faster. Faster. There you go. So you're generating electricity right now, and that electricity is making this go. So this has been a really good module. I've been happy with how it's worked out. It's been holding up very well. Sometimes the hand crank plays up a little bit, but the TNT blaster has been really good. It's got a built-in overflow, although funnily enough that has not been used because it gets played with so much. Let me drop a few in here, you can see the overflow. Next is a Sawyer's scissor lift and a carousel. So the balls go up onto the conveyor belt and get loaded around.
Oh, I see that. I like that one.
And then they go for a ride around the carousel before they get dumped off.
They go for a ride on the carousel before they get what? I know.
Then this design has been seen before around the world, but this is my interpretation of it. It's working okay, but it's using the rubbery pieces from Lego, and I'm finding them a little bit too flexible in this warm weather, and we do get a bit of ball spillage here, but overall it's working okay.
What set did these come from?
These were from a Toy Story 3 set, I believe. It's the only set they came in, but I managed to get quite a few of them, and overall it's not too bad. Then we've got an Akiyuki's Planet, which again is, has been seen many times before and works reasonably well. Then we've got a few basic workshop modules here. And then leading on to Akiyuki's Strain Wave. This one has been behaving itself very well. No issues at all. Up to a conveyor belt here, and then onto an Akiyuki catch and spin robot. This little guy has been having issues, so unfortunately the red guy has had his hands taken off for the time being because he's not been picking up balls particularly well. But the yellow guy's working okay. This one here was by our team member Lisa. It's ultimately just an Akiyuki spiral lift which forces the balls up to the top and then comes down. It has been working reasonably well, but unfortunately, just like some complicated GBC, suffers few too many issues, so we've just had to take it offline. Hopefully she'll get time to work on it tonight and get it back into operation. And yet another Planets by Lisa. These next couple of modules are by Jeremy, who's come from the US. He's managed to bring a bucket wheel excavator all the way, and that's been working very well. And next is his binomial distribution, which I believe has been seen at several other shows around the US. It's definitely fun to hear the spill of balls when the counter from 3, 2, 1. Up to a nice slow conveyor that puts everything back into order again at our 1 ball per second rate, which we're aiming for. Another card and workshop module, another Catarata that I had. This module actually started one as double length. It was nearly a metre long, but I decided to split it into two because it was just getting too hard to transport.
Seems to be a constant challenge for GBC builders, is the transporting modules.
Yeah, and just being able to build them strong enough that they can be packed into boxes. I use scrunched up paper to sort of as padding in my boxes, but I know some people do very complicated cardboard and wooden boxes to transport theirs in. Leading on now to a few of the Akiyuki modules. We've got a Archimedes Screw, the fast ball counter, spiral lift on the first one, is it? Or the, yep. The ball counter is definitely fun to watch. I love the speed that it works at. Looks like it's recognising yellow balls as white today. Really fun to watch. Come on. Next up is the version 3 of the ball factory. So this one is now no longer needing to be built on a base plate. A lot more structuring and strengthening on it, and this one, I believe, seems to be running well this weekend. Yep, I'll come around to the other side. We've got a hockey stick module here. It is a lovely module to watch. A little bit finicky to get it working, and you don't want to run it too fast, but it does work well. The next one is Hart Train, I think, isn't it? Which I suppose, looking from a certain angle, does look like a typical love heart. This one's a very fun one to watch and does seem to be working mostly. A couple of ball spills, I believe, if it doesn't run fast enough. Next is my catch and release robot, which I think is behaving himself. Both of them seem to be working well. Really nice mechanism that when they detect the ball in the grippers, it activates the gears. We have Peanuts, which is the track shaped like a peanut, and it passes the roller coaster carts around. Fairly new module that looks like it's been working well this weekend too. Yeah. Then we lead on to wheel and steps. Lift triggered by stuck ball. Another Archimedes Screw and another one, probably the version 1s and 2s. We might need a few more balls here. Yep. So definitely the Akiyuki corner here, which is all working well together. They look
quite a bit of Akiyuki on the table here. Like 7 or 8 tables of Akiyuki.
Yeah, it's come up really nicely looking here. People can really see them all well together. Another hockey stick, which is the one that I built. I think it's got a few drop balls that might need to be fished out a bit later. And cup to cup, which is one of the older ones. This one we have a version called 5 heads.
This module
No, it's called 5 heads today.
5 heads today.
Mr. Red decided not to behave himself, so he's been taken out. And then we've got the good old basketball shooter as well, which has been shooting quite a lot of three-pointers at the moment. Pinball GBC, always fun to watch it when it goes down the hole. And my tower, which has had a small revision this year. I've made the input standard, but it's a bit of a space theme one going up. And down onto the rocket tower. We have even the caterpillar tracks going down the bottom for a bit of fun. Next we move on to Rick from Queensland. He's built quite a lot of modules and is a prolific builder of his own designs and very generous in giving out the instructions. Versions of his wheels are Red Crane by Pinwheel, and then on to the big bulldozer, which has been very popular this weekend as well. Not sure how many battery changes we've had, but they're working very well.
Another convention.
Oh yeah, our friends in Brisbane.
We'll get that in post.
Yes.
Brickvention.
We'll just edit all that out, but that's okay. They've set the last record for Australia's modules, which I believe was about 130, and that was very well done. Moving on to a sweeper module, a Sawyer wave module, another one of Rick's bucket ones. Workshop pump, I believe.
Yeah, it's a Brickweld.
Brickweld one. Yep, there we go.
And then we've got a serpentine.
A small little serpentine one. A Matt Norman WM01, which is what we've used as our workshop module here at Brickvention. Rick's wheel, Batman themed, or however you like to theme it, and then his tower bridge, which is another ball pump in here. I think we've got 3 or 4 ball pumps on the way out. Oh, they come out fast. I've actually never noticed how fast they come out. Another little conveyor belt module, this time themed as a giraffe. Double scoop bucket by Rick, and Lost on Lombard, which is the exact same mechanism that I borrowed for my mine. Onto another Robin theme wheel, and then the Avengers Tower. I believe we've got Hugh from Bricksets Pusher Opera. Hugh's been doing some really good modules lately, and it's nice to see them in person. Another stepper by Pinwheel, this one, I believe. And then Rick's, what was this one called? Truss Wheel. And that was the one that won the GBC Discord competition just recently. Power Miner's Wheel, using a very nice way to counter-rotate, just for decorative, in the middle. And my Spiral Curves, which is one of my oldest modules now. I'm always constantly amazed how people love watching this one. A couple of fairly pedestrian sweepers, which I've just got chained together. And some conveyors. One using the inverted tracks here. I'm not sure of this design. I think is it a Mako lifter or another one? Next is our modified WMO1 module that we use for our workshop. So this is the exact same one.
You ran a workshop at Brickvention this year for people to build modules.
Yeah, this was our very first workshops, building workshops that I believe Brickvention has done. So they managed to organise mostly enough parts. And we had about 20 people building this GBC yesterday, and everyone had a good time, missing a couple of gears, but they've been found now, and
Do you plan in the future to allow people to put them on the table as part of the show?
Yeah, we'll be more than happy to have people add them on to boost our numbers up, but also to see their fruits of their building in action.
And doing it next year as well?
Hope so. It seemed to go really well as a first time, as a bit of a experiment, a test for us here in Melbourne, which hasn't been done before, and I think everyone enjoyed it. So once we improve a few things with the logistics of getting parts, we'll be fine. Card and lift built by the Wilkes family, I believe, Michael Wilkes. And then a Christmas sweeper by Joel Sloan. He's also got this very original, I think all of his modules here I will call original. He's done a great job building on mostly studless Lego technique.
This one's a pneumatic module.
Yeah, he mentioned to me before he's hidden the mechanism away, so it looks like just a box on the outside. He's going to show us now. So the air compressor on the back, you need a little lever on the side just to open that up. That'd be a good thing, but no, that seems to be working well. I haven't heard of any issues around this side of the table. No, it's good. His own design of a pusher sweeper, which again looks like it's been working really well. And I know they're only basic down ramps, but I always love looking at these things when you get a nice pile of balls going down. It's really mesmerising just to watch a chain of balls go down.
The sound is very
It's definitely, you get that audio feel to it. We've got another conveyor belt which leads onto another one of Joel's original creations. I can let him talk to you about it.
Technically, it's all one module. The platform itself isn't to standard, so I had to build the conveyor belt to get it up to the right height.
Yeah.
New and improved conveyor belt from last year as well, so much more reliable, doesn't drop as many balls.
Yeah. I think after once we got it assembled and working and a couple of little minor tweaks, it's been really good. And I know you put instructions up on Planet
Yes,
GBC, so that's really impressive that you've had time to do that.
See a nod to some world famous GBC video choreographers on the output there.
Just a basic stepper again, which I've used as a reservoir module. These ones are very good at controlling the flow, so you can have a large amount of balls sitting there and not worrying about anything, and then one ball per second coming out. This is I've actually got digital design for this conveyor belt, which is a nice studless one I did a couple of years ago. It's quite flexible, you can really adjust the height, and it's good at getting in places. It's a nice long one, extendable, very low friction, and just runs and runs and runs. We have our steering cup module, which I've made quite a few modifications from the original, and mostly it's good. I haven't been paying attention to it over on this side of the table, so I don't know what it's been like, but I think it's been okay.
It has been.
Yeah. Another one of Pinwheel's little steppers here, and then we lead on to some of Owen's modules from Canberra. He loves using tracked loops of modules, so rather than just a basic conveyor up, the chain of conveyor goes all the way around. And just another conveyor with a few flexible down ramps just to get around the corner.
What's this barcode here?
I believe this one goes to the greatballcontraption.com website. I'm not 100% certain on it.
I'm sure.
It was either that or a voting one. I'm really not sure what in the past that's what it's been, but I think he might have changed it.
And this conveyor looks like it's running very slow.
Well, as you can see by the name there, it is called Slow Conveyor. Owen's had this set of effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modules chained together for several years now. Occasionally he adds an extra one in there. They're driven by one power chain at the back. He does his own standard drive shaft. And it is slow, but it is very, very reliable. I've been at many shows with this chain of modules here, and it's really good. Next comes to Owen's Big Blue Bridge. This one I know has travelled around the world several times, and also around Australia several times. It was brought down to Melbourne last year without Owen, so we had to assemble it by ourselves. A few basic modules again, conveyors, brickwork modules.
Every brickwork module is 2014.
Yes, it most likely is. I think this is a slightly modified one. But overall, I haven't heard too many issues from this side of the layout either. We have a few custom power solutions here. We use a few drop down because 12 volt delivers ideally better power to the train controllers, but having an internal circuitry, a buck down converter, which Owen has done to output two 9 volt outputs, and he runs to those modified battery boxes. A few more scooper modules here. Not sure who did this one, possibly Owen. Owen has quite an interesting one on this one here, which is a large hopper. But inside, he has a constant variable transmission in here. The rubber band between the two conical pieces can alter and vary the speed, effectively changing gears on the fly. I do not touch it very often, but it works well. Another using brick separators. This one up here in the past Owen has used for the ball counter, but I think he's on this one here. We're reading 4,700 balls today, so that's not too bad. We have a little module here that waits for 4 balls and then tips them all out and continues on.
How many modules have you got in the loop?
We believe there's around 160 at the moment, 161.
Balls?
Balls around 600, sorry?
600 balls. So in 161, like what kind of numbers do you normally get at Brickvention in years past?
I think last year we might have been around 114 or so, 130 maybe.
Wow, so that's quite a jump,
We have had a bit of a jump since last year. It wasn't really planned. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago we did hit the Australian record, but it's a lot of work to keep it going the whole time, and the Brisbricks guys beat us 6 months afterwards, and that was fine. It's always a good competition. But yeah, it's been really good to do that, and I think overall the layout's been running quite well.
I believe you have representation from all over Australia here.
No one. Oh yes, Western Australia, I'll say that now, who has contributed designs. No one from Tasmania. There's a couple of the Tasmanian builders who have been promising modules for a couple of years now. Maybe next year. Now we're leading on to a whole series of modules made by the Brooks family. This is their 3rd year displaying GBC, 3 years? 4th year, how about that? So they started off with a ragtag section of modules which would fall apart when you first looked at them, but now they've learnt and they're getting better and better at building.
And I would say our section almost hasn't broken down. Am I right? It's almost...
No one's section is perfect. My sections break down, everyone's sections break down. It's just a case of how often. Even this old module here, which seems very slow, but effectively it pushes the balls through very nicely. A lot of people love recognising the old tugboats from their childhood. It's definitely one for mine. Amazing bit of just scenery and interaction. We've got a rally car fan in the household here, so it's great to see a bit of live motion in front of a module. Just a conveyor going over the viaduct here, but overall very impressive from a creative point of view. Leading on now to Alessi Wheel, I believe. I'm not 100% certain, I've forgotten the builder, but this is a stackable module which they've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe. It is using 4 motors with a constant drive shaft going up each side. But it looks like they've been working really well, and I think the Brooks family are looking to extend that even taller next year, which would be quite impressive to look at.
Looks like we've got some GBC fans based on this tower.
Yes. Everyone loves GBC. Another little conveyor and a pusher module which behaves itself quite well. This last section of the table is the Rosica Amoresis family, and they've had a Chima module for a few years now, which looks simple, but it churns through the balls quite well using the Chima gems as actual pushers, and that's an interesting part to use. We've got a series of Mako steppers here, piston sort of crank arm steppers. And we do have a common drive shaft, actually using, it looks like, I believe, 2 motors, XL motors here, running a common drive shaft together. We will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 modules, 10. Some of Rosica's modules here, I believe some of these ones using these parts have been in operation for over 5 years, possibly 6 or 7.
Yeah, I believe some of his modules have been running for over 8 years.
I think this one here he had one of the other bar lifters which he's taken out of action this year, but this one would have been around for probably close to 7 years, I would say. And it has run non-stop, no problems for all that time.
I assume he's changed a few motors in that time.
Who knows?
And am I right in thinking this is the only programmable module on the table?
No, we do have the Akiyuki ball, the fast ball sorter over there. So of this whole table we only have 2. And the binomial distribution is NXT2. Come on. So I know this one was only probably built in the last few weeks, but apart from a bit of clicking on the gear, seems to work quite well. A lovely elves decorated module here by Ovendy. Done a great job of decorating using all the parts. A couple of more wheel modules, another Archimedes Screw. I believe these 2 modules here are also some of Rosica's oldest modules as well. I've definitely seen them for a good 5, 6 years. Lastly, a couple of very old style, I think this was a Philo sweeper wave module, and that design must have been around for a very long time now. Don't see it as much anymore. It's a bit ball spilly, so people have improved the design over the years, but this is, I believe, very close to the original design that Philo did many, many years ago. My version of the Akiyuki grab and lift, I reverse engineered this from the video before any of the instructions came around, and it's run really well. Another stepper, is that your oldest one, or is that?
That's my one, that's my first one.
Which is the oldest? This is the old, so this is the old one. Another scooper using the banana gears, and a last conveyor before our final bridge. And it's a lovely warm 30-degree day here in Melbourne, Australia. Hope you've enjoyed the Great Ball Contraption show.